Hello and welcome to Quests.travel. This is Antara Pawar. Today we're joined by Noel Saxena, CEO of Blink Brand Solutions.
Very good, Antra. Thank you for getting me over to Quests.travel. It's a privilege for us to be here and to talk about, how technology is being, changing the world and how technology is being changing travel domain as such. More than happy. Thank you very much, Antra, for that.
Thank you so much, sir. So beginning with the first question I have for you. When DMOs come to you asking for AI, what are they actually asking for? And is what they're actually asking for the same as what their numbers tell you that they need?
So, well, actually, if you see, there are two sets of DMOs, right? One is who's been established in the Indian market, have been generating a decent amount of visitor footfalls from India to the destination.
Right.
But there are a different set of DMOs also who's been wanting for decades and ages now to come to India market. But every time they want to come to India market, they feel there's a challenge to come because market is so fragmented, where they start from, where they end at. There are a few challenges which are there in the Indian market. Like number one is, of course, that in India, basically it's a plus and it's a minus as well, I would say, because in today's world, if you see, agencies don't need a license to operate in India. So, for example, if somebody wants to open up a travel company, they can have an internet connection and a telephone line, and they have their own set of contacts whom they can service and get the decent amount of business revenues from their clients. The ones who have already been established in the market, now they are requesting the importance or probably integrating the data analytics into it so that they get the more and more numbers to their destination. Because, of course, the numbers that they were having earlier, now it's becoming a challenge to get those numbers because Indian travelers are very different, It's a style statement for them to travel, right? If somebody has been to Singapore or been to Thailand, they would want to visit a new destination, not the same one, because they want to put down those stories on their Instagram, Facebook, and so on and so forth, the social media. So, I would say in the last 7-8 years, Instagram has taken over the precedence, and that's the tool now to reach out to the masses, to the consumers. There used to be a time earlier where people used to go to a travel agent and say, can you advise us, where do we go? We've done Singapore, we've done Malaysia, we've done Thailand, where do we go now? So then at that point in time, the knowledge of a travel agent was very important. It was imperative, pivotal in terms of pushing down the destination to that round of corner. Now, in today's day, if you ask me what DMOs would ask inside the door, they will ask, first of all, is predictive intelligence as to what numbers would you be able to bring down to the table by the end of the year? What segment of travelers will you be able to bring out to the destination by the end of the year? The second thing that they ask is, of course, the scale to connect with the agency base, because now nobody in India would have an exact number how many agencies are there in India, right? There is no set number. Because of course, there's no license required, right? So if you talk about in Raipur, we say, 100 agents, but there's no authority who could vet that, whether 100 agents or it's 112 agents, right? So that's where they would need technology as an enabler. And Blink being a new kid on the block, to be very frank, who has just come in, in the era of AI, artificial intelligence, data monetization, importance of data. So we have been using data and technology as an enabler to help these brands to grow and to reach out to the right set of travel companies so that the return on investment is faster and is good. Travel agents, with the help of AI, is self-equipped. If tomorrow they have not sold, let's say, for example, Taiwan, which is one of our clients, the consumer reaches out to them and say, listen, I want to travel to Taiwan. Can you set me a package, please? Right. He goes to AI and just types in package, and package will be instantly given out to him in 2 minutes. Right. So I feel, of course, the predictive intelligence is important, where they would love to know what numbers they would get down to the table by the end of the year. And that requires a lot of surveys, a lot of strategic approach towards the market, right? Depending on what their core strengths are.
Since you also spoke about technology, you have 40,000 travel agents on the platform. In the old days, that would require like a massive sales team. What part of agent relationship have you successfully automated with AI? And what part will you think is never going to be automated?
Today, I think CRM is something which is not being used by most of the companies. But yes, we have utilized technology, CRM, to profile our set of travel companies, making it easier to differentiate who sells what. That's one thing that we have done differently. And I think what cannot change
Right.
is the segmentation of travel companies. Because India is such a dynamic market. Today, for example, let's imagine the situation, the turmoil that's happening in the Middle East and the North Africa, right? I mean, the mess
Yeah.
that's happening, the turmoil that's happening,
Hmm.
the agents who were selling majorly Middle East have now moved shifted to Southeast Asia. That segmentation
Okay.
is little difficult, but yes, you can understand if somebody has sold Middle East, they have the potential to sell Southeast Asia as well, and they have a potential to sell domestic as well. Because there used to be a time pre-COVID where people used to be where travel companies used to be
Right.
differentiated by saying inbound and outbound.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Nowadays, everybody is doing inbound, everybody is doing outbound, depending on the client. And all thanks to AI. Today, if in case AI wouldn't have been there, the knowledge of the front line of the staff would have been a big challenge. At
Okay.
the end of the today, when the data is there, everything is there with them. They can sell instantly.
Since we also speak about data, what is one industry truth about Indian travelers that you personally used to believe, but then your own real-time data at Blink has proven to be completely wrong?
So India has always been considered and perceived as a price-sensitive market. So every you go to travel companies across the globe, and you say, okay, fine, we come from an Indian market, and we want to contract with you. The
Right.
first thing that comes into the mind of the international travel company is negotiations. They will start the negotiations because they have always perceived India as a destination which is very price sensitive. Now this has changed completely. Now people are if you see most searched keywords are experiential travel, luxury travel, golf travel, right? Apart from these masses which have been traveling to different destinations. But yes, there has been experiential travel that has been taking precedence over the price sensitive travel. So that's something which we have seen the reason. Of course, the agencies which are sitting in the tier 2 markets and tier 3 markets are doing wonders right now. And even the travelers from those markets are trying for experiential traveler, where they may have been to Singapore or the regular destinations, but now they want to do an experiential travel into those destinations, which is a very plus situation for the giants and the countries who've been sitting in India for a very long period of time.
Right. Okay. So if you're the director of a small tourism board entering the Indian market in 2026 with a limited budget, what is one thing you should stop spending money on today to stay competitive?
Well, I mean, director of the small tourism board with the knowledge of technology, with the knowledge of AI, how this is changing the world, we would have stopped spending on hard copy collaterals. There's so much of money that goes into hard copy collaterals, printing brochures, printing booklets, printing so many. And it is also not, if you see, eco-friendly aspect, right? So we suggest, I mean, if I would have been the director of a small tourism board, I would put down everything to a ready reckoner, utilize technology, create a landing page on my website, and get people to come to the website, draw information, copy it, take the information from there, create collaterals of their own, and start promoting the destination through various platforms, through Instagram, through Facebook, through LinkedIn, to their own websites, to Google Ads. I don't know.
Right.
People are not investing into Google Ads today. I mean, that's something which takes you to the right audience, what you want, when you want, and how you want.
Right. Since we are also speaking about Google Ads and social media, the industry does pour a lot of money into lifestyle influencers. What does Blink's data actually show you about whether that spend converts? And do DMOs really want to hear this answer? Are influencers really working?
Well, I mean, influencers, Instagram, influencers, content creators, of course, they've gone in numbers. I don't know if you heard about a brand called NAS Daily, which is a brand which is there. Someone, of course, they've started their content creation centers here in India, which they understand that there are a lot of content creators. Again, the same problem that we have with travel companies. It's very difficult to understand what travel company can do justice for a next tourism board or a Y tourism board. The same issue with the content creators. We've got multitude of content creators. Just to analyze who is the right one, that's where it comes the knowledge of the companies which are into the domain or spectrum of this travel domain That's when you can do a justice
Okay.
by understanding which is right travel influencer. But differentiating between a lifestyle influencer and a travel influencer, I feel both would do wonders depending on the data and depending on the monetization of data
Right.
we have done in the recent past. Because every lifestyle influencer or a travel influencer has their clientele. And anybody who loves lifestyle does travel as well. If you ask someone today, do you like travel? Nobody on the face of the earth would say, no, I don't like travel. Everybody would say, yes, I like travel. That's the best part. So even if you go to a lifestyle
Yes.
influencer, you need to know how to position your product so that it's been highlighted
Okay.
there, it's been showcased there to the set of consumers that they possess under their banner.
Okay, so I recently read that nano influencers perform much better than the macro ones. Like they give maybe 3 times more the revenue. What are your views on that? And when DMOs come asking for, say, a macro influencer, would you push a nano influencer in that case?
Well, I mean, this is something which we have been doing for the last 2 years because we see the macro influencers. That when you go to a macro influencers, it becomes very difficult to make them understand that, the destination has a lot of requirements right now to get a push from them on a reel, on an extra reel or extra post. It becomes a very tedious task whereby a nano influencer, if you shortlist the right nano influencer, that would make a much bigger difference for you than what a macro influencer. But at the same time, yes, for few projects, you require a macro influencers. Without that, it becomes very difficult. But what I feel is that, when a macro influencer talks about 1 million followers, like those 1 million followers, if I ask them today, how many would buy a package to a next destination that I'm promoting with you? They wouldn't have an answer. So I think this also needs to be backed up by a lot of integrations where you can come up with codes. So when people are buying, they get the discount codes. You get certain travel companies to come and be a part of the campaign, so that these are the ones who are selling the product and they become the ambassadors for the destination. So a lot can be done when you actually go and monetize this part. A lot can be done. I feel that there is a lot of potential in terms of doing call to action campaigns, which most of the tourism boards are not looking at the moment. But yes, everybody, as I said, they want intelligence, predictive intelligence, how many people will be able to get. But now with AI and with data technology, we will be able to give you that number as to what number will come down, but depending on the campaign that we're looking at. So there's a estimated number of people who will be able to buy the packages, and everything will be done based on the right set of strategy of the right set of campaign.
Right. This takes me to a very interesting conversation. Since we talk about influencers, we usually think more about, say, leisure travel. But now when we look at Taiwan, which has had a huge visibility on your platform as well, what specific data point convinced you to double down on MICE and corporate travel over mass market leisure over here? And how do you find that mode for a destination?
So what we have done, we've been looking after Taiwan for a really long time now. I mean, and in fact, what we have seen is there has been travelers and leisure travelers. I mean, we've gone and checked off the box thing that they've done Taiwan. But with regards to the MICE, we have seen frequent repeat clients coming back to back and moving large number of people to experience the destination because, of course, cost is also one of the component, and Taiwan is considered as a value for money. Number one. Number two, the infrastructure of the destination. When you talk about the MICE incentive plans that the tourism board has at the moment, which helps the corporate or a travel company curbs down the cost. Number two, the safety of the destination. Number three, the repeat clients that have been coming to destination again and again. This makes us look at the part that we should be focusing more towards the MICE market and partially towards the leisure market, because leisure is something which has been already been booked at the moment. MICE is something which we have to look at and introduce a MICE incentive plans, our other offers, visas, and everything. So that makes it more imperative for us to promote MICE and push a little slow on the leisure travel.
This brings me to one more interesting question, actually. Recently, we have seen how live events have kind of been, more popular in that sense. And people are kind of not doing corporate travel anymore because they think that's something that can be done over a Zoom meeting. They don't need to travel to a different destination for that. What are your thoughts about this?
See, as I said, travel is a dream for every individual. You give them 12 times in a year, we give them 15 times in a year, we give them 30 times in a year, or you give them once in a year. They would love to travel again and again. The moment you say, okay, there's a Zoom meeting happening in Gurgaon for a Delhi person, they'll say, let's connect on a web call.
Right.
That's fine. Because of traffic, there's no to it. But when you say there is a meeting face-to-face happening in say, like X destination or a Y island, they would love to travel there.
Right. Okay. That's fair enough. Recently, PM Modi also encouraged Indians throughout to not do foreign travel as much. Do you think that's going to affect the businesses as well? With, of course, Taiwan and Uzbekistan on board with you.
Yes, it will. Of course, any destination that's been there in the Indian market, and then the PM has mentioned that categorically, and he has mentioned that for a reason. So, of course, people will curb down the travel. We will see the lack of numbers towards the destination, but at the same time, this is a matter of time. The situation will get better very soon. Since
Right.
I think probably, a lot of people are moving into that direction where they have to travel. Like, for example, business travel will keep moving. When the business travel will move, imagine that, the family who is left behind in India, a person who's going for a business
Yeah.
travel, will certainly call their family too, right? Because this is the travel period. I mean, the India's largest travel period is this.
Okay.
From May goes to July. So everybody would want to do that. But yes, we will see decline in numbers.
Right. Okay, thank you so much. I think that was really, really insightful, and it was a very sharp and useful conversation, sir. It brings us to what tourism boards actually need, that is better decisions, better targeting, and better proof of impact. Mr. Noel, thank you so much for joining us and sharing such clear and practical insights. And to everyone watching this has been Quests.travel, bringing to you sharper conversations from the people shaping the future of travel.